Hey everybody, and welcome back to Grave Mistakes, your favorite podcast that typically discusses horror movies, but today we got something special for you. We're going to be talking about The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves.
Thursday, October 31st. The city streets are crowded for the holiday. Even with the rain. Hidden in the chaos is the element, waiting to strike like snakes. And I'm there too.
We got our co-host Slim once again,
Yep.
and then we got
I'm
someone
here.
new today. We got Vengeance supporting us, ladies and gentlemen.
That
This
was my Phil R. Pepperson.
This is absolutely fantastic. Yes, today we have a guest star, our resident DC and comic book expert, and he is very excited to be here today because we're going to be talking about The Batman, which I feel is a horror movie in itself. So I think it's worthy talking about. So we're going to get started as usual. We're going to have Justin give us a brief synopsis of the film, and then we're going to dive into it. Justin, you want to give us what's going to be going on?
Yeah, sure. So this is a new reboot of Batman. This is not Dark Knight. After this, we get a new Batman. We get a Robert Pattinson.
Oh yeah, we get Twilight Batman.
He is the new grimy bat of the Gotham, and he is trying to serve a murder case, right? So yeah,
It's a little bit of a murder mystery film, kind
Murder
of.
mystery.
But you know the killer, I guess, but you don't know the identity of the killer. Very interesting content. Yes, the movie is 3 hours long. We've got Zoe Kravitz, Robert Pattinson, and my absolute favorite version of James Gordon, Jeffrey Wright. So, first of all, how did we feel about the movie on like the 17th rewatch? Because this movie has been out for at least, I think, 2 years now. Yeah, so I personally enjoyed it. I love it. This is my favorite adaptation of any DC or comic book character, I suppose. I know that's a bit of a hot take, and we'll get into it later. But yes, I absolutely loved it. Peak Batman. Nothing else is better than this. Fuck the Dark Knight.
That's insane. That's insane.
Okay. Well, my rewatch, I was just hooked back in. I hadn't watched it in like maybe 2 years, and all the scenes that were supposed to hit, they still hit. It kept me engaged, and yeah, I really liked it. Joy or Vengeance? How about you?
Yeah, this movie is definitely. I have to agree with Jesse. It's definitely my favorite adaptation of a comic book film. Just as a longtime reader of Batman, this is the first Batman movie I feel like you actually see him be a detective. And that's something that I personally enjoy a lot. And every time I rewatch this movie, I always find a small detail I love, and I just absolutely love the film. I think it's pretty much perfect in my head. Dark Knight's still great. I'm not saying fuck the Dark Knight like some people, but definitely my favorite comic book movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's many reasons for this movie to be like kind of a standalone when it comes to other superhero movies. I think it takes its own approach to depicting fantastical characters. But since this movie has a lot of exposition itself, we actually kind of want to dive into a little bit of a preface before it. Joy, do you want to give us a little bit of description of what you were talking about before the show about this book that takes place before the movie itself?
Yeah, so before the film came out, they released a prequel novel that many people do not know about, giving context to a lot of what Bruce Wayne went through in terms of his training, and how the origins of him becoming Batman. Because as for those who have seen the movie, they don't really talk about it. They pretty much just jump you straight into the deep end. So pretty much in this universe, Bruce Wayne was a racer before the film. And the reason why they did this was because Matt Reeves thought it'd be a really cool idea that his version of Batman built almost all of his own shit, including the Batmobile. So he wanted his Batman to be able to do that. So he came up with the idea of having it be a racer. And then during his times of being, or during his time racing, at some point he decides to leave to go to school, travels around the world for college, picking up different types of fighting styles. And one of the traits about this Bruce Wayne, that's kind of common in the comics and kind of in the movies as well, but they don't really talk about it, is that he hates the idea of being well known and popular. And this is shown when he gets pulled over by a police officer, and this officer lets him go because he's a Wayne. And so you kind of get this interesting dichotomy between the Riddler and Bruce Wayne, whereas Bruce Wayne doesn't want to be seen at all, and Riddler is tired of being invisible. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which is very interesting that they established that in the book.
Yeah,
And then
that's a great place for absolutely no one to hear the information, but that's why we have you here to tell us about all the exciting parts that come to it.
yeah, what's also like my last little thing that I think is pretty cool from the novel, is that the entire like he became a racer to kind of run away from his parents' death. Like it's his way of constantly trying to get away from it. And then he ends up going down the path of becoming Batman because he ends up loving the idea of justice. And then Alfred reluctantly decides to essentially work for him, which you kind of see this in this film too, because the entire idea of Alfred in this universe is he is 100% not entirely on board.
No.
He's not 100% on board like Michael Caine is, or
Well, I thought that he
Joker.
trained him, right? But you said he went around the
Yeah,
world.
yeah. Good point. He did train him originally, so think of it like before he goes off to college, Alfred trained him hand to hand.
Yeah.
Because in this universe, Alfred was a former CIA or like
MI6, whatever the
MI
British
yeah,
intelligence
like
is.
some intelligence. Like he is an ex-agent. And also a fun fact in this universe, Batman has never been late.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, between the Riddler and Batman, I imagine it's just two different people on Reddit who got a little bit too much juice in the tank. I could totally see like both of them being the wallflower at the party that they're just like their egos are going absolutely insane. But so thank you for the preface. Now we're gonna dive a little bit into the movie. So we kind of start out with this little very interesting killer POV situation where we're witnessing this kid do little ninja stuff with his dad, and then we find out later that it's the Riddler assassinating the mayor with this very interesting tool that we can come back to later. And then it kind of kicks off the movie.
That?
Oh, we're gonna get to it. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. We're gonna get to that. So it's a spoiler. So yeah. By the way, preface for that too. The rest of the podcast is gonna contain spoilers if we haven't already for any DC project, including the Penguin, because we're probably gonna dive into that too. So if you haven't seen the Penguin, definitely go see that. So yeah, well, our murder happens, and we get justice and vengeance. We get breaking into the movie where we're here. There's a murder. Batman's been established for a couple of years, and we're like, oh my god, what's going on? And then we get the best monologue ever. Joey, do you want to give us like the first line of this amazing monologue that you've memorized?
Thursday, October 31st. Even in the rain, the streets are still crowded for the holiday.
See, he knows the whole thing. Okay, yes. So yes, this is the best opening for any Batman movie or sub opening. It's so not only we have Batman established, but we finally get to see, at least in my opinion, what it's like for a low level criminal or an organized gang member to react to Batman's presence alone, not just Batman. Usually Batman arrives on the scene, they're like, holy shit, it's the Bat! Is that guy real? But in this movie, the first couple of criminals in the midst of committing crime, you see them react to just the symbol in the sky. It's like he is literally a symbol. You get to feel his presence. You don't know if he's there. That's the fear that the Batman instills into the criminal element. I'm robbing a gas station, but maybe I shouldn't sell drugs. Maybe I shouldn't rob this person because the Batman's out tonight. So fuck that. I'm gonna stay home. And that is like immediately perfect for establishing the tone of what this character means to the city.
Right, so like they're doing like their action of crime, and they look up, and then they look at the shadows.
Yes. Oh my, yeah. They're like, oh fuck, bro. Like he's in the darkness, bro. He's here. Everyone is like, he's here. Everyone thinks the Batman is there, and then we finally get the moment where Batman does arrive. We got like these very very like comic booky cheesy ass
gang members, yeah.
Just harassing the fuck out of someone. Do we know who they are? Is this like an established group, or is this something that it's just some random gang with face paint?
From what I can remember, they are a random group of people.
Okay.
Posse, right? Isn't that
yeah, it's like it's just no affiliation with Joker. More than likely, I think it's like supposed to be its own thing.
Okay.
From what I can remember,
they're in the middle of this gang initiation with this young blood.
Oh yeah. Actually, interesting. That young kid that's trying to get into the gang.
Yeah.
He plays Tim Drake in DC's Titans. He got.
That's fun. That's a fun little thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt Reeves.
Okay. Right, go off. Okay, so Batman establishes himself there. He's present. He's ready to defend. He's ready to be justice, and he starts mollywhopping the absolute fuck out of these guys. Yeah, like you can hear the audio is visceral from when Batman hits you. It's kind of like Batman from was it Ben Affleck's Batman where he hits you, you fucking feel that through the screen. You're like, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
That guy's dead. He killed that guy.
Like a shriek of thunder at every single point of contact.
Yes, and then we also kind of get like the realism that we're gonna get in the movie. Like Batman's armor is like completely bulletproof. He gets shot a couple times, and you see that shit like ricochet off his chest. So he does have like pretty much plot armor. So but at least they've established that early on. You're not like looking later to kind of see like whether or not Batman is going to be taking a beating or not. He's pretty much invincible. But that's not what this movie is about. It's about the mystery of the murder. So Joe, you want to take us on to the next scene after that? So we finally get to see justice in action.
Oh yeah. So after he gets done beating down this group of people, he gets called to the crime scene of the mayor, where they're doing their little investigation into what's going on. And essentially, during that investigation, he finds a clue, like a riddle to him, with this decipher on it. And as he's leaving this place, or this was it his apartment, the mayor's penthouse or whatever,
Yeah.
he sees this little boy that he relates to, as he also lost his father at around the same age. So you get like a little glimpse of, at some point, you can kind of see him trying to have the connection with the kid. So I think it's like their way of like maybe as like hinting at the fact that there could be Robin down the line, you know?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Not with
maybe.
this kid. Definitely not with this kid, but
No, yeah, there is a recurring motif of Bruce Wayne kind of projecting himself onto this kid, because we're going to see that later with the funeral scene and stuff. But
Yeah.
So my favorite part about the scene, and the reason I think it's significant in this 3-hour movie to bring up, is because you get to see also like law enforcement's reaction to Batman when he walks in. Every single cop in the GCPD is staring at him like, "What the fuck is that? Like, this dude is weird. Why is he here?" And then Gordon is just like, you can tell he's embarrassed too, because like it's so unserious. Like, this guy's dressed up like a winged animal, and he's at a crime scene.
you know, it reminds me of like when your friend from high school, like your best friend growing up, like first day of high school, you meet up with each other in front of school, and he's just dressing a little too emo that day.
Oh yeah, it's like
That's
he's
their
like
homeboy.
his hair is lime green now, and you're like, fuck, and like you got to walk into school together like this. Okay, yeah, yeah. No, that's a pretty good example.
But I don't know if you guys know this, but like pretty much since like what Batman and Robin, that's like the first time we actually see Batman work with all of, like you get to see him working with GCPD, not just with Jim Gordon,
Yes,
because they don't do that in the Dark Knight.
You're right.
I mean, like you can maybe count Dark Knight Rises, maybe because of the last, like because of the ending of it, but outside that, no, you don't get that since like Batman and Robin.
And from what we see later, it kind of seems like this is the first time he's been officially invited to the crime scene, which I don't think they're going to continue after the visceral reaction that they had later. So continuing on from this scene, I think it's important to kind of bring up some of the middle parts of the movie, so you guys can start riffing off some of your more essential scenes before we get into like the Selina Kyle arc and the Falcone stuff. So,
well, yeah. So they he eventually finds the I think he gives his butler. I don't know why I can't think of his name right.
You're talking about
Alfred. Yeah. He gives Alfred like the cipher. He solves it, and it says drive. So he's like, "Oh, we should go check the mayor's car." So he shows up, Commissioner Gordon. They find the weapon, right? The murder weapon in the tire, and I still don't know what it is. You'll tell me later. But opens up the car. He's like, I'm looking for a USB drive.
Yeah.
He finds it. And he's like, "Oh, you get it? Thumb drive."
Okay. Oh, no.
It's really funny, actually.
I feel like this movie's humor is underrated.
It is.
No one ever talks about the comedy in this movie. It's very, very.
I saw a tweet. It was a picture of Jason Wright's Commissioner or James Gordon, and it was like this guy's personal life has to be dog shit. Like, like, oh my god, no, yeah. Like if he's cracking up about stuff like that, then they're definitely losing it.
Yeah, it's like we don't get like the overabundance of comedy like in Marvel movies, but like we get some when we get it, it's good, you know? Like
it's good. Yes.
It's very dry-witted humor.
Yeah, exactly.
It works very well.
Yes. Okay.
Well, yeah, from the thumb drive, he finds the pictures of the mayor with Anika, who's a worker at the Iceberg Lounge, and I think there's some. This is the one that the Penguin. He runs this. It was very close to Carmine Falcone. So I think Batman then goes to. he goes in there, right? He goes straight to the iceberg lounge, opens up the door, beats their asses. Okay, I'm like, he is so new to being Batman that I think he's still doing stupid things. Like he goes into a club and starts fucking brawling with everybody in there, and then the Penguin's like, come on, hey, let's just talk.
It's me, the Penguin.
No, actually, with that scene, I love the 3 different ways him going into the club is shot.
yes,
Yeah, he's
that
gotta
is
learn.
That's one of my favorite parts of the film. No, because it's
Mm.
like when he's as Batman, you see his different approaches with like each one of his personas. Because the way I view it, he has 3
Understanding now.
different ones, right?
Yes.
I understand it now. So like his Batman persona is like, fuck you, I'm just gonna beat your ass. His Bruce Wayne persona, he's not confident. This isn't Playboy Bruce Wayne. This is traumatized Bruce Wayne. So
Yes.
he's very like he's hunched over when he goes there later. And then Drifter just fucking doesn't even attack them. He just walks straight by them.
Yes.
Like that's one of the things in the movies I just super like. I really enjoy seeing that.
Yes, it's
That
the
type of
evolution of the character for sure. Because initially, like that Batman full brute force strategy is not. It's like a learning experience. Like I cannot use this for every situation. There are nuances to like being this this crime fighter.
Mhm.
So I did really enjoy that as well, and then especially because like later on in the film when he like becomes the grifter, the drifter, however we're calling it, I think it's like the perfect in between because you can tell like as you said before, like he's not comfortable in his own skin. Like this guy's fucking weird. If you saw this guy, you would not feel comfortable standing next to him. If you shook his hand, you'd probably put a firm handshake in, and Bruce Wayne would return with like one of those like little limp extensions, and you would just be uncomfortable the whole time. No eye contact. Just like Jesus Christ, Bruce. Like,
No, he has an awkward presence. It is very strange when he's not Batman. When he's just Bruce Wayne.
I hear Nirvana when he's on screen. Like it doesn't have to be playing, but when he's like his hands are in his pockets and he's shrugging his shoulders, something in the way, like
Yeah, man, it's when some people aspire to be.
Yes. All right. So anything else before we dive into the meat and potatoes of the movie?
We can keep going. Go ahead, Jerry.
I will say the something in the way part since you brought it up. This is a detail I didn't notice this, and maybe I just because when I saw it the first time I'm just stupid, but a buddy of mine pointed out when the song is playing when he drives into the Batcave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he sits down at at his chair.
Yes.
You see him actually switch a knob off, and the music turns off, right? When he flips the knob, so like the music that we're hearing turns off when he flips that knob,
Yes.
which is on the audience. He's listening to Nirvana in the Batcave.
He's listening to it. Yeah, he's edgy. He's really edgy.
And this is compounded because not even 2 minutes later, he looks at Alfred and hits him with the classic "You're not my dad."
Yeah.
And so it's just like, so it's just peak
yes.
like it's just peak emo-ness, and I love it. Like it's just
no, yeah. There's a scene later on too, like man, I'm so excited to talk about it. But like right before the funeral scene again, where he's like he's handing him the Wayne cufflinks, and he's like, are you a Wayne? And he's like, your dad gave these to me. He's basically like, shut the fuck up with this, like you're being an asshole, and then he kind of just stops. Yeah.
Their relationship is very odd.
Yes.
For sure.
So continuing like the main narrative of the story, yes. So this Annika at the 44 Below, which is like this like sub grimy scum and villainy club underneath the iceberg lounge, where all your politicians, prosecutors, and desirable human beings go to do drugs and sleep with sex workers and do all this like horrendous shit. Yes, she is the one who's heard all this information, but then we find out she's killed. So then we kind of get this introduction to Catwoman, who's trying to find out who murdered her friend. And then you find out her mom worked at the Iceberg Lounge as a worker as well, who also died. So there's like these two stories kind of intersecting here, with Catwoman trying to figure out who killed Annika and Batman trying to figure out who killed Annika, so they can both kind of solve this riddle. Right. Skipping ahead almost dramatically, we have this interaction between Catwoman and the Batman, where they kind of first meet each other, and they both have to kind of be on the case. And correct me if I'm wrong, is this scene directly after the Penguin Batman chase in the car in the Mustang?
No. So he initially he sees he thinks that she's suspicious, Selena Kyle. So he follows her home, sees that Annika's at her home, and then follows her after she changes. He's a peeping fucking Tom, first of all.
Oh yeah, that was kind of crazy. I was like, Batman, you can't do that. Bruce.
He follows her. He went back and played that from his contact. multiple times. But
He's
he follows her from there.
Alfred,
and
what are you doing?
she
I'm
goes-
looking for evidence.
Yeah,
In her bedroom, Bruce?
she goes back to the mayor's room or his place, his penthouse, to go steal back her passport because he took it from her. And this is where they initially meet and talk. Yeah. So this happens way before not way before, but Annika hasn't even died yet. I don't think she just gets kidnapped because they leave.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's good. That's sorry. I can't stop thinking about Bruce Wayne rewinding the eye
Tip.
contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Well, it's even crazy. No, I pointed this out to someone yesterday. I was like, dude just said like, cause he was like, Anka looked pissed, or you looked upset. Back at your place, and she just looked at him, and I was like,
It's
"Is
like-
that W Riz chat?"
Yeah.
Like,
He's just, what do you mean at my place? She looked upset.
like,
Man. Okay.
He kind of just told on himself right there.
He
I thought
did.
that was
He
pretty
did.
funny.
And that's part of that awkwardness.
Yeah.
there is. So I think there is. And I couldn't confirm this or not, which is why like I didn't. Do not take this 100% fact, but if I remember right from the novel, because I had a buddy who read it and was telling me about it. I'm pretty sure that they hint at the idea that in this universe, Batman is somewhat on the spectrum, which I think it can explain some of his behavior a little bit better.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
And this is a concept that is also explored in a comic called Batman Poster, which is pseudo based on this film. So
Yeah, that would be like at least like maybe on the lower end of the spectrum, definitely high functioning. I could definitely see that applying to his character and some of the social awkwardness and some of the other things.
Just a serious focusing of vengeance. That's his character.
Okay, so yes,
Yeah, we had a pretty major scene. We forgot about
What did we
Attorney General being kidnapped by the Riddler. And then
No,
sent-
hold on, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Whoa,
Oh,
you
wow.
That's the next scene. This is
No,
the
wait,
next
wait,
scene.
no,
like-
wait. Yeah,
This
hold
is the
on,
next
hold on.
scene.
No, because we gotta have the chase go down. We gotta discover that Shorty's dead. Like there's hold on.
Wait, whoa. Before what happens?
Because there's the car chase where we find Annika's body, and then we have to go to the Iceberg Lounge to infiltrate. Right? There's a lot here.
No, you're out of order.
I'm out of order. Okay, hold on. Rewind. Yeah. Okay, somebody take us to right before we have to infiltrate the Iceberg Lounge with Zoe Kravitz in the red wig. Someone just take us to that part, and then we'll take it from here.
Okay, yeah. So, go ahead, Joey. You got it.
Alright, so pretty much what happens is after they go to the mayor's penthouse, they go back to Catwoman's place, and Annika is gone, right? And then she brings up the 40 Below Club to Batman, which Batman pretty much goes, well, you're going to help me go in there if you pretty much want to save your friend, right?
Yes.
And which then brings us to the club. I'm sure there's something in between those two things, but
it's like 3.5 fucking hours. We'll be all right. Like,
so yeah, but then you get to the club where she puts in the same contact lenses that he uses to be able to see and record everything, and then that's where you're at now. So.
And oh my gosh, was that wig amazing? Did you see that red wig?
Yeah.
Jeez, it was great. Yeah, so we got
that
a little.
Bob was crazy.
Right,
man.
that Bob was bobbing. Yep. Okay, we
Yeah.
got the dress. We got the bob. We got the little glitter on the eyes. She came to win.
came to play.
Win. Period. She was serving face for sure. Yeah. So
One of my favorite things was him like, wait, you have to make eye contact.
So she walks in, and this is like actually this kind of leads into why I believe this movie is a horror movie, because like you feel the gristle of Gotham, like the stickiness under your boot, the corruption, the crime. Like it doesn't feel safe. Like you feel what it's like as a civilian, what it's like to be vengeance, what it feels like to be just a woman. Like her walking through the club, it's just like it's this absurd like gaze from all the men in the area. It's just extremely uncomfortable, and these are criminals, these are corrupt politicians. It's like the idea is no one in the city is rooting for your safety, even the people that are hired to do so. Right. So as you see her walking through this, you kind of like you feel this absolute degeneracy, which is like the city just in general. Like its overall vibe is the 44 Below. It's kind of like a manifestation of like the city's personality. So she's walking through. She's got she's kind of like looking down uncomfortably, and that's when Justice is like, he's like, no, you have to make eye contact because he's got facial recognition software, so he can start identifying all these corrupt politicians. And then what's his name? Gibb. Gus?
Coulson.
Gil.
Gil.
Oh, God, Gil. Yes. So the DA. Oh, also, fun fact, a little rewind here. There's a deleted scene where the Penguin stops Zoe Kravitz, is Catwoman. He's like, "Hey, doll, here you go," and he's trying to give her some money, and she's like, "Nah, I'm good." He's like, "What do you think? My money isn't good enough? Well, one day, I'm gonna beat somebody."
It's a very odd scene.
They should have left it in.
They should have left it in, especially because as a character, you can feel his overwhelming insecurity just in the film alone.
Oh yeah, no, Oz in this film is fucking phenomenal. Like,
Yes.
Colin Farrell's performance is immaculate.
Yeah, they did a really
I've
good
seen-
job at putting him as like number 5 on like the hierarchy of Falcone's gang.
Yeah.
He's present, but he's not like Penguin level present yet.
Yeah, he's not overbearing.
Yes. So continuing on to that, so she identifies Gil, the prosecutor. He's like, "Wait, is that the prosecutor?" And she's like, "Yes." But like, can we keep it step? And he's like, "No, go talk to him." And she's like, "Fuck, I'm gonna be here forever." Because obviously she recognized this guy. So Gil's like, "Take a seat," and he goes, "You want some drops to take the edge off?" I'm like, "We're really just doing, we're doing PCP at the in front of the
Batman's
normies."
like, oh my god, he's high.
Oh yeah, he's what is he? He's hammered or he's plastered or something.
He's
yeah.
plastered. Yeah.
That's right. Batman doesn't believe in getting high.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Like
Batman believes on a war on drugs. No, I'm kidding.
That's right.
So she has to interact with him, and Gil's basically he's like yeah, like, you know, everything's been so hard with this Riddler guy. He's killing
Such a
everybody
loser,
involved.
man. Such a loser.
And he's like, if only they found out, because of course he's an exposition dump, right? So everybody's like, hey, Gil, shut the fuck up. We can't be talking about that. He's like, no, it's fine. And she's like, wow, like really, like you must be so popular, like so, like what's happening? And he basically goes, yeah, so there's an informant, a rat, that has been able to snitch on the entire Maroni gang. So there's 2 massive mafia organizations, and this rat was able to help take down one of the entire mafia gangs called the Maronis. And because of that, all the politicians have been able to kind of like eat. Everybody's been eating since the Maronis have been taken because they've been having their territory and all their earnings snatched up. So then now we're finally getting some truth to what's going on. We still don't know the Riddler's true intentions here, but like the Riddler's riddles are still pedaling forward a little bit. So after we get this, we get a lead, and then we get Gil walking back to his car, about to get a DUI, by the way. He could not operate a motor vehicle. He said, "Where are my keys at?" Also,
good catch.
You're telling me the city of... I have so many problems with this scene, actually. First of all, his car is parked in a fucking alley. That's like a 2024 Hyundai Tucson. You're telling me no one's breaking into that car in this random sketchy alley? We're not snatching tires. We're not taking the car or anything. First of all, he has no parking citation or boot. Like, that is clearly a no park zone. Like, absolutely insane. So, yeah, I don't believe in that parking situation at all. And how long was Riddler waiting in the car? Because that guy was breathing pretty hard. I feel like the entire windows would have been fogged up. Like, what was he doing? Does he watch TikTok while he's waiting to kidnap Gil? Like,
we know TikTok exists in this universe, so it's possible.
Yeah, so like, what is the Riddler like? Oh, we have to speculate. What is the Riddler doing for this entire situation? Because I imagine Gil gets out of the car to go to the club, right? Probably at like, I'm feeling he pulls up at like 10 p.m. And then I imagine the Riddler gets in the car like immediately after Gil like leaves. So he's probably in there till like 3 a.m. So is he just sitting in the back seat waiting? What if he has to piss?
Yeah, this guy, he's definitely just on Reddit. What do you mean?
He's talking. That's right. He has followers. Okay, I like that.
Definitely on the Star Wars episode 7 through 9 subreddit for sure. Definitely feeling that for him.
The Riddler is explaining why Daisy Ridley is unrealistic as a female protagonist in the Star Wars universe. Okay.
The biggest riddle: why did this movie get greenlit?
Yeah, riddle me this. You're telling me John Boyega's allowed to play a Force-sensitive Jedi in my Star Wars film?
Oh,
okay,
God.
that's good. Okay, that's good. So we've established Riddler's behavior inside the vehicle. Yeah, so he kidnaps Gil. The prosecutor is now snatched up, and then peak cinema time. So so the mayor's funeral is a huge deal. Bruce Wayne has to go as himself, and so he pulls up super uncomfy in his regular clothes. He has that little "You're not my dad" moment with Alfred, where he gets the cufflinks from his dad. And he's sitting there, and he notices Falcone. So Falcone gets out the whip, Oh, we forgot about the argument. A little backtrack again. So, Selena Kyle, Catwoman ends up taking the fucking contacts out because she notices Falcone and she gets weird. And he's like, wait, get close. That's like, fucking mafia boss Falcone. She's like, I know. We have a personal relationship. And he's like, what do you mean by that? And she's like, fuck off, and takes the eyes out.
Oh, yeah, he gets a little jealous.
He does get a little jealous because he thinks that's her man. He shows up to the funeral, sees Falcone, and he sees this woman, this female figure next to him. So he's like, what the fuck is this, Selena Kyle? So in the most awkward, I'm cringing, holy shit, stop moment ever, he just starts like speed walking at like Falcone, the Don of the Falcone crime family. And I'm like, I'm getting so, like, this is gross. Because it's like, what happens if that was her? Was he going to be like, wait, are you Selena Kyle? It's like you're Bruce Wayne right now in broad daylight. So obviously he gets stopped. They're like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, this is Falcone you're dealing with, So they stop him, and he's like, this is Bruce Wayne. You know who this guy is? His father saved my life, operating on me on a table. Yeah. And so
I saw you up there. I saw you staring at me. I remember your face.
Oh, he's like, I remember that. This kid right here, he was sitting on the steps while his dad was ripping a bullet out of my chest, So we have that established relationship between the Waynes and the Falcones, which will come into fruition later. And then, Bruce Wayne's in full locked-in mode. He's scanning the crowd because he knows the psychological profile of the Riddler requires him to be present at whatever event this is, because he's a serial killer, right? They're looking for a serial killer, so the serial killer is going to be present somewhere at the mayor's funeral as the victim. So he's looking around. He kind of keeps finding these random homeless people / angered Gotham citizens, which is interesting because you get to see the reaction of regular citizens to the mayor's death. Nobody is sad he's dead. The only people who are sad about the mayor's death are other rich people and criminals. Half of his funeral party is criminals, which is, kind of a connection to this corruption here. Regular citizens are like, fuck that rich guy, I'm glad he's dead, which is kind of throwing Bruce off because he's like, wait, is this guy the killer? No, this is a bunch of just disgruntled Gothamites. So then he stares longingly into the now orphaned child again, which, there's that parallel again of him projecting himself onto this kid. And then a car comes smashing through the funeral. Oh my God, what's happening? Big action, smashes the doors, comes flying in, and he's just like, saves the kid. That's the first thing he thinks of. He runs over and grabs the kid, won't let him get killed, hit by the car. And now Gil's sitting there with a fucking bomb around his neck, Jigsaw style. So we're right back to the horror motifs. How did you guys feel about this scene? Because I'm fucking in love. This is where the movie goes from I'm enjoying this experience to here it is. This is cinema. This is Martin Scorsese's dream.
Here we go. Yeah, it was pretty thrilling, man. Even though you knew it was gonna happen, but just even hearing the car noises outside and everybody screaming, it's like, oh, it's
because that was the last thing I expected. I was thinking this was gonna be a moment where the Riddler is hiding amongst the crowd and maybe we'll see him run away. That ugly ass.
He's staring up at that guy who's like a Jesus figure with the behind him.
Because he's so fucking dramatic. The Riddler is a diva.
He has a flair for
the theatrical. Yes, but I didn't expect this because I'm thinking it's gonna be something subtle. We're gonna find a clue, like I said before, the cliche. I'm thinking it's gonna be the cliche where he notices who the Riddler is and he starts doing a foot chase, and then the guy disappears from the crowd behind a fucking moving bus or something. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. But no, we get a very shocking car getting driven through the funeral. Gil's sitting there. Oh, go ahead. You got something?
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the things that they do in this film a lot is I like the way that they use characters, and what I mean by that is the cop that is he's a mega fan of Bruce Wayne, right? Dude's like, hey, look, it's Bruce Wayne. And then
he hates Batman.
He hates Batman. So I love how we get to see how people interact with both Batman and Bruce Wayne separately, and how it's very different opinions too. How they
because he was like, "Hey, it's Mr. Wayne." He doesn't know you. What are you talking about? What's going on?
Yes,
he's just beloved.
And I love how Bruce Wayne just looks at him too. There's no verbal exchange. He's just he's disgusted at the fact that this guy likes him. I don't know. So we get the Jigsaw moment. We get the live or die, make your choice. It's full Jigsaw. He's got a fucking iPhone 6 taped to his hand.
Yeah.
He's got a bomb thing on his neck. His thing's taped up, and he's got like a fucking like little question mark taped to his chest. So
Yeah.
all I'm thinking is I'm hearing the little Saw theme, like the do no. Gil, you lived your entire life providing incorrect justice to Gotham for money. Now you're gonna have to use money to save your life. Make your choice. It was a great time. And then, but here's the other thing too. So we have to have this time skip between when Batman shows up. So Gil has been sitting there for like 12 hours.
It's insane because when I was watching, you're right. He's sitting there for 12 hours. So I was talking to this person. I went. Do you think he was like for like 4 hours? This dude was applying makeup.
Oh,
like Gil's out here swaying, and then Bruce Wayne's at home just putting on some makeup.
Yeah, I was thinking,
oh my
like, did
God,
he write
that's
home
so
or
funny.
did he bring it? Like, did he bring his suit with him?
Oh no, there's no way on God's green earth he would, bro.
No, because he's not Spider-Man. No, this is so funny. Wait, so that's so dramatic. That's so funny. Batman is not serious. So that means Gil's in there and he's got the thing that says to the Batman, right? So the police obviously get everybody out, clear the scene, call bomb squad, okay? So it's like probably midday, early evening. I'm putting like the funeral between like 3 and 4 o'clock, right? So it's pitch black nighttime, probably 9 p.m. So that means Bruce Wayne got in his car, drove back home, changed clothes, told Alfred what's going on, put on fucking makeup, listened to Nirvana. Like, he's sitting there putting on eyeshadow. Like, do you think he's hyping himself up? Like, do you think he's doing like little jogs in the mirror? He's like, okay, here's my moment. He asked for the Batman. Here we go. Where is she? Wait, Gil. Like, he's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like practicing.
Yeah, definitely practicing in the car on the way driving.
And I know he overthought it. He overthought the moment too, because he's like, well, I can't show up because it's daytime. It'll be weird. So he's like waiting for dusk. He just keeps checking his watch and looking at the sun to make sure it's setting.
You just see his cave just laying there, just being like, "Fuck, man."
And you
know, it's not sunset yet.
It's not sunset. And Gil is like, there's like a upside down bell curve of how he's like feeling nervous. Like, initially he's like freaking out, he's screaming through the tape, but like after like 2 hours of just sitting there with a bomb on your neck, he's got to just be like, fine, like he probably just grabbed that wooden chair, he's sitting down, he's just like, he's just kind of looking at everybody like crisscross applesauce. Like at some point, like he's probably like not nervous anymore. And then Batman shows up to rip the fucking thing off, which of course he arrives. He can't just use the front door. You just hear like the footsteps and out of the shadows, and everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck? It's him! It's the Batman!" Which was super cool, by the way. He played that so smooth. He didn't look at the police or anything. He just kind of got to step in, And they're like, "What is this guy doing? He's gonna get himself killed." What?
No, yeah, because the army's pointing their guns at him, and they're like,
"Oh my God, it's the Batman!"
It's the Batman. Which is honestly like, if I'm the riot shield guy and this fucking bat dude walked out of the shadows, I'm in over my head. I'm letting this guy grab the note. I'm not saying nothing. Fuck policy. Fuck procedure. We're in the big leagues. So
and that they did.
Yes, they let him do it. They let him cook. So he snatches the thing off, and this is where the Riddler is the Riddler. Like, he's like, oh, it says answer. I think that's also funny because the phone is ringing when Batman arrives. So do you think the Riddler had to keep calling this phone number for 4 hours?
The same thing. He's really like technically sound, so I think he probably set some type of thing to.
Oh,
I'm thinking it's spam caller for sure.
Okay, so let's put that together too. So the Riddler also has to be in costume, and he was there at the funeral. So that means the Riddler had to go get in his car, drive home, set up a webcam, put on the costume, and sit in front of the camera practicing riddle me this. What's 1 + 2 but not is 3? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he probably had an outline of his shit too. So him and the Batman, they're not even doing this for the safety of anyone anymore. At this point, it's all for clout. They're trying to get themselves on camera. Yeah, so he's sitting there. Go ahead. You got something. I hear it.
Yeah, so in this scene, right, Paul Dano did this whole like phone take 200 times.
Oh.
This was by his own volition. He wanted to redo the take as many times, like, because I guess him and Matt Reeves talked, and he did it in different ways, like trying to talk to Batman in different ways to see what sounded the best. So this scene was shot, or like his scenes were shot 200 times. Along with that, he actually had a big influence on the Riddler in this movie. So like he picked out the glasses. I think he helped with the costume, and he did such a good job with helping build the character for this movie with Matt Reeves that DC hired him to be a writer for this Riddler comic, Go
Oh
Riddler Year One.
wow, that's
So
cool. Okay, that's a nice little piece of like extra information that I did appreciate because I think like his performance is stellar. It's perfect. I mean, like he really masters like being a genuinely intelligent villain in this while also like maintaining some realism to him. Like his motivations and his like decision making process is something that you could actually see from like maybe like the Unabomber or something. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he's a domestic terrorist, and you can kind of see.
he was definitely inspired by the Zodiac Killer.
I can see that too. Yeah, especially with the weird ass mask. So yeah, he pulls out his first couple riddles because he's like, okay, so like you've helped this city become corrupt, and this is where you get to reflect Batman's intelligence as well. Because before he's just kind of this big ass brute that beats the fuck out of people and assists with murder investigations with super obvious evidence. But here you get to see his quick wittedness. So he asks, "Do you remember the riddle? Does anyone remember the riddles by chance, or because I remember the answers."
I know one of them.
Shoot, go ahead.
I think it's if you are justice, please do not lie. What is the price of your blind eye?
Oh, yeah, it's the second.
And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, a bribe. The answer's a bribe.
How much did they give you?
Yeah, oh yeah. So that's I think the third riddle. So they get through a couple of them, and he's like, you got 10 seconds left. So yeah, like the jigsaw timer bomb activates, and he's got 10 seconds left. He's like, what is the price? And he's like, 10,000. And then the last one is like some question about who the rat is. Yeah, he's like, it's a rat. Who's the rat? He's like, and then
I can't say.
This part actually like it gives me chills and goosebumps every time I see it because you can like they establish Gil as this extraordinarily like just vile human that'll sell out his grandmother for $1, but like he's gonna do anything to save his life, anything for $1, but he's like, no, I can't. It's so much bigger than you realize. I have family. He won't just kill me. And then he lets himself fucking die. You're like, fuck. Yeah, like, and the Batman obviously catches like 40 kilos of C4 to the face.
Knocked out, yeah.
Yes, so yeah, he like, which is terrifying. You're like, who the fuck is this rat? Like, who is so important and what scheme is so like serious that this guy is just gonna let his head get blown off because he's so worried. And Batman's surprised too. He didn't think he was gonna blow up. He thought the guy was gonna answer the question. So he sits there and he just kind of like, bro gets decapitated by the bomb, and then Batman gets knocked unconscious.
Yeah, his jaw should be gone.
They take bro. I think his entire like upper like part of his body's gone. Y'all talking about decapitation? That's just incinerated.
No,
Batman's
if we're gonna use the argument that like his armor is that durable, right? I'll buy into it.
Way too.
However, I'll buy into it. However, his jaw is gone, right? There's no shit on his jaw.
Well, have you seen the impeccable jawline? That shit is strong. It's the crimson.
Yeah, that shit is like
iron.
Yeah, crimson shit.
Batman mews in the Batcave. I don't know if you've known this or not, but he has.
Batman mews this entire movie. Dude. It's kind of insane how
does
sharp
the Tom Cruise thing where he kind of looks over and he starts clamping down, and you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. I mean, listen, man. If Zoe Kravitz is that close to me for a prolonged period of time, I'm also moving the entire time. I don't think you realize it.
Okay, that's reasonable. So now Batman wakes up in the GCPD. This is one of my only nitpicks with the film. Is of course they conveniently decide so they sit there, right? The bomb goes off. They have to clear the area, make it safe, approach Batman, make sure he's unconscious, pick him up, put him into an ambulance. They drive him probably from the fucking funeral in downtown to the precinct, take him into that room, put him on the table, right? And conveniently, the second someone tries to take off his mask is when he finally wakes up.
We need some type of plotter. We can't have Bruce Wayne.
The paramedics who just witnessed this guy catch like a grenade to the schnoz wouldn't have removed his mask for medical purposes.
If they're paramedics, they would have taken him back to the precinct. So
no. Well, because you know what happened. What's the name of the chief of police in this? Like that guy with the big ass mustache.
Oh yeah, Joy. What's his name?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, that guy was like, nah, he's coming with us. Like, there's no way he's not going to hospital. I'm saying like the EMTs would have taken his fucking mask off.
This is what I think.
It's a chastity mask.
No, it's 100%. Jim Gordon was probably by his side that entire time.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
that's what I think is the most logical conclusion.
Okay, how many excuses do you think he had to come up with though?
Well, I mean, it's not really excuses. Like, so like they already know that him and Gordon have a special bond,
Yeah.
special relationship, like a
Yeah.
special one. And so like, and so like I'm sure it was like he was just like, hey man, don't remove the mask, like.
Yeah, no, he's
Like,
probably like,
right away.
don't touch him, don't touch him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he went to the bathroom and then they all just started going.
Well, yeah,
going
no, like, actually, he went, hey, can you watch me real quick? I gotta go take a piss. And then they were like, get his mask off.
Gizmo. Okay, so, okay, yeah, because by the time they like open the little interrogation cage, there's like 40 officers in there, and Batman, he wakes up like a Narcan overdose patient. He gets up, he's swinging, everyone's catching hands. He's like, whoa, chill, be smooth. And then they're like, fuck you. And then Batman's over there fighting cops. Like he doesn't care if you're what side of the thin blue line you're on. He's whipping your ass.
Yeah. Then we get one of my favorite scenes, man. Hey, Commissioner Gordon's like, he's talking to the chief. He's like, hey, I gotta talk to him.
Oh
real
yeah,
quick.
he's like, I'll get him to cooperate. And he's like,
hey, we gotta get you out of here,
oh
man.
yeah, and he slaps him in the chest and kind of side eyes the other police officers.
Yeah.
He's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Yeah, that was good.
There's a staircase down the hall. You gotta punch me in the face.
And he's like doing the little thing with his lip to make it seem like he's pissed. Oh, it's great, bro.
Yeah.
And he's
he looks back at the chief, and then Robert Pattinson does not hold back.
No, doesn't hold back.
Box this dude as hard as he can, and his face takes the key, opens up the gate, closes the gate, runs down the hallway.
Hey, that was him holding back, man. He said it.
Oh yeah, no, bro. He did say no. This is so yeah. He mollywops the fuck out of Gordon, and then he starts to run. He starts sprinting, and the cops shoot on sight. I was like,
shooting up
wait,
like the stairway. I'm like, what
which makes sense because whoever trained Gotham's finest has got to be an idiot. But
Hey.
they draw their service weapon, open fire in the police station, and then they just start shooting upwards through the staircase at Batman. But there's other officers on the stairs.
Insane, bro. It's what is Gotham doing?
What is Gotham doing? They were just like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yo.
I think it's got to be like one of those things where like Gordon was the one thing separating the GCPD from going after.
Oh
like,
yeah, no, they were
Batman.
itching. They were itching, which makes sense.
The minute they saw Batman like
assault an
lay this
officer,
dude out, he was like, they're all like, it's finally our time.
It's finally our time. We can do it. Yeah, no, man, this guy gets the fuck out of Dodge. Oh, and then we finally get to see the wingsuit because he has to jump off the roof, which was, I'll be honest, I really prefer the Christopher Nolan Batwing situation. Like the real life fucking squirrel suit was not cool. That shit was ugly as fuck.
I liked it.
It was cool, like in the fact that it was real, but it was ugly, and that
He almost died.
Yeah, he did not practice.
Oh my god,
bro! He smacked into the loop in downtown Chicago on his way to the ground. Like that guy ate shit.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Listen, I'm all down for the realism shit, man. But if you're trying to make it this sort of grounded Batman that could be real, you cannot have him going 100 into a fucking semi, all right?
Oh, dude. Wait, and this is
it's the train, like.
Oh yeah,
yeah, guys.
The train head on.
This is right after he took a bomb to the face. Batman is gonna suffer from CTE at 35 years old. Like he cannot keep getting hit.
Armor made out of vibranium.
Yes, we gotta be serious. So Batman limps back to the Batmobile, and now he knows what he has to do. So he has to find out who the rat is. So was it okay? So do we get the orphanage scene now, or do we have to find out Rada Lada?
No,
I think this is Chase. I think.
Wait, we got to meet up on the roof, right?
Oh,
he meets him again.
Yeah, he's right.
Yep. So we're on the roof. We're in the abandoned building on the roof. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Selina Kyle there yet, or that's after Gordon leaves, right? That's after.
Oh yeah, I think he goes straight there, and he meets Gordon. And that's when Gordon is like, "Hey, you didn't hold back." And then they talk for a second.
He's
they're like,
I did.
No one else has wings.
Oh yes. He's like because this is the El Rada Alada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like a bird with wings, and they're talking about his dog shit Spanish too, so they kind of reference it.
I will say is one of the details I love a lot about this movie is the fact that the goddamn bat signal's on the GCPD building, because the amount of times I've watched like the Nolan movies and like they're anti-Batman but don't realize the goddamn signal's on their roof.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
It's like Gordon goes up here every single day for a 15-hour cigarette break next to the bat signal, and no one, like, if you're a defense attorney, you have a field day. You're telling me the prime suspect in your murder arrived at the police station practically gift wrapped, and you have no idea who brought him there. Is that the fucking bat signal on top of the police station? Are you encouraging vigilantism? Like, yeah, no, absolutely not. Every criminal's getting like completely, getting like they're beating every single case if they got that shit with them. Thank you, everybody, for listening to our first part of the Batman episode. If you enjoyed this, please move on to part 2. Hope you guys enjoyed that as well. We'll continue talking about the Batman, and then in part 3, hopefully, we'll get into some of the Penguin and our final thoughts regarding this fantastic film.